welcome to Relatively Related. I'm your host, Trudy.
And I am Troy Penny.
And I am Tarrie Phillip.
And my name is Tarrie, as you know. So.
As you know. I like that.
Trudy's just having a bit of like a laughing fit.
Sorry. Yeah. So thank you guys for joining us today on Relatively Related. And this is our recap of our fair series.
Yes.
Yep. So this month we each, had a fear that we wanted to try to tackle. And let's just see how that went. So we're going to start with Tarrie. How did your challenge go this month?
It went good, I guess.
All right. And just remind the people, what was your fear?
So my biggest fear is like snakes in general. I'm fearful of both of them, whether it's poisonous, who wants to be bitten by a snake and poison.
That's very true.
Yeah,
I do not want to be bitten by a poisonous snake.
That's obviously a big fear of mine. The next one is like just big snakes in general. Like you have the anaconda and everything.
Yeah,
like
the
that.
python.
Swallow the life type of thing.
Yeah, like those just freak me out. Like I don't want to be wrapped around and like be swallowed alive. And yeah, so those are my biggest fears. So this month I was planning to like go to one of those zoo or whatnot. I don't know if it's called a zoo, but
like
one
the
of those reptile
yeah, the
places.
reptile places.
Those
yeah.
reptile places so that I can go like pet. I can't pet a poisonous snake, obviously. Wouldn't be a good idea.
You just have to stay away from the venom. Right?
Yeah, it's fine. Just stay away from the venom. You'll be good.
They have those, the needles. So like once I get
anti-venom.
yeah. But so my other option was like just go and pet those bigger snakes. So in the next couple of weeks, I'm actually gonna go do that.
Very good.
I'll film it for our nice viewers who will be interested in seeing that.
Of course they will.
Wow.
Of course. They want to see us, just in fear and in pain.
So I didn't have the opportunity to go to a reptilian place where I can actually interact with a snake. I still think I'm gonna try and do that as soon as I'm able to. But my fear of snakes, what I've realized is that it shouldn't be something that I should be fearful of. The chances of me meeting up a poisonous snake or a snake that can wrap me up and swallow me home are slim to none because the chances of me interacting with them, based on where I live and everything like that, it's probably not going to happen.
And Troy, what was your fear and how did it go for this month?
So yeah, here I am today, standing right next to a statue, not really feeling like afraid or anything like that. Like I literally just touched the statue. And when I started this, I thought, I couldn't really get close to a statue, but the more I got around statues and just realized that they're not really gonna do anything, the more my fear sort of lessened and lessened. But this one is all right because it has like eyeballs. You get a shot of the okay, I don't know, but like when they have pupils, they're cool, they're fine for me. But like when they're the ones with like the blank eyes, those ones are kind of hard. But this is progress. This is progress.
So you actually touched it? That's a good step.
Yeah, I still have nightmares about it, but it's fine. But yeah,
progress, right?
Progress, not perfection.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was very terrifying because I don't know, like being around statues, especially the humanoid statues, are they just creep me out so much, and I don't know how to like get over that. But I figured, touching the statue and seeing that nothing's wrong, nothing bad is gonna happen.
First steps.
It kind of helped, but
so I'm
not gonna do it again.
So how you said even just the thought of it, like kind of freaks you out or scares you. I know you said that in the past. With the two of you, like Tarrie, I know you haven't done it yet, but does the thought of it, what does it, just the simple thought do to you? I guess that's the question I'm asking.
The simple thought now, it doesn't scare me as much as it used to.
Okay, that's good. That's good.
But again, it's just one of those things. It's gonna take some time for me to get over it.
Get over, yeah.
Something like this is very freaky to me. Like anything that has a human kind of face to it, or like a figure, even if it's made out of anything, wood, stone, metal, I don't care. As long as it has a face, it's creepy. And yeah, so I'm gonna touch it just because I have to do this thing. Great, okay, moving on.
The simple thought of like touching it doesn't really scare me because
It being the snake.
yeah, yeah, because because it's like in a controlled environment, right? So like
Yeah,
it's not gonna scare me or anything like that.
yeah.
Sorry, that was a good joke. That was a really good one. Yeah, sorry.
And the snake being an animal, but anyways, go ahead.
Yeah. I'm better follow up.
I'm so sorry.
Didn't know we were going.
I didn't know,
Yeah.
but we're here now. Let's just move on.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
the thought of touching it doesn't scare me, but I'm sure like just seeing that, it's not as bad as how I'm thinking, like a snake wrapping me around or anything like that is. So that's the first step of actually overcoming that fear of like snakes or anything like that. So I'm not really scared per se of touching it. I'm more like excited.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're excited
Ju-
to
just-
wow.
I'm not excited to touch
Just to
statues,
feel,
but yeah.
just to know how it actually feels and everything like that. To feel the muscles of how, because it's actually really strong, right?
Yeah,
It
but,
is.
yeah.
It is.
Yeah,
They
so
are.
to feel that muscle, I think that's gonna be cool.
That's good. Tarrie, what about you? What was your fear for the month and how did it go?
Yeah, so my fear was the overcoming the fear of like losing someone.
Always
remember.
goes to the deep, dark place.
And I was like, I know they're gonna say I'm taking it to the dark place, but yeah. So, like, what I ended up doing is I did speak to someone, right?
Oh, that's
and
nice.
yeah, and also because of the timing, I'm gonna try to get another person and then give my personal response. You'll see the videos there, right? So one of the couple takeaways I got when I talked to people who did lose loved ones is like one, as I mentioned, life move on, but it doesn't really move on. It's kind of weird. It's like, yes, you continue your life and you continue going forward, but that person is always there with you, like always. Like nothing can take that away from you. That person would always be there, always be part of your story, always be part of your experiences. You're gonna remember them. And the second thing is that no matter what, it's not necessarily the end. People I talk to, especially those with like a strong faith and like belief, they believe that it's not the end. So like yes, that's their time here on earth is gone, but it's not the end of everything. And even in the actions you do, you can keep that person going on. So no matter what. And then the last thing that I really learned that's really important is like never feel that you're alone in your fear of losing like loved ones. Like everyone has that fear. Once in a while they might think about, what if my mom were to pass away, or what if my spouse was to pass away, or my child. We all have that fear, so you're not alone. So it's kind of natural to feel that way, because if you didn't, you don't really care about them. But just know that that it's not the end of the world if the worst were to happen, and to just remain positive. So in addition to that, I started to read stuff like from some psychologists who deal in the area, and also some counseling websites about like how to overcome that fear, because apparently it's a common fear that a lot of people have, right? And there's even a name for it. I guess Troy would put it. I forgot. I don't have it in the notes here, but
Thankfully, it's right here. Guys. It's right here.
Yeah, there's a long phobia name for it, right?
Right.
But anyway, it's a fear of like abandonment, like kind of like the people that's close to you just kind of leaving you and going or whatever. So it could be any one of you guys on the table. Or it could be like
Again, what?
All right, so the sun's out today, so that's something good that we.
No, I don't.
But yeah, I know. I get what
Yeah,
you're saying.
because we happen to be close,
Yeah,
right? So
yeah,
it's
yeah.
just like if any one of you guys, right? So
Right.
so they were saying that fear can actually be normal. It's normal, or it can be unhealthy. So it's normal when like it's just you're having worry and sadness about a loved one passed away, which I'm sure you all have kind of like, okay, who's the closest person? And what if they were to pass away? That
Yeah.
kind of sadness. Look at Terry's response. It's like that kind of sadness or whatever.
Right.
That's normal. That's normal. But it becomes unhealthy when the more you think about it, the worse you feel. Like it affects your sleep, and it's like a pervasive fear. It's like ominous, always there.
Right.
So they were saying like some people, even for example, right, like people who really have this fear, even if they saw like a far distant person that they're not even close with pass away, it affects them, right? So I was reading, and there was a point when that used to happen to me, but I don't think it happened to me really. But I was reading about like this young girl. She's like 16. She has a fear of like her parents passing away. However, that's the normal side. However, it becomes like a problem, like it's unhealthy, because she was also fearful. Like you guys remember when Juice WRLD passed away? Yeah, like she was saying she doesn't know him, she never met him or anything, but that the incident of him passing away, it really affected her, like her ability to sleep, her ability.
Oh, wow.
So it's like that's when it can become unhealthy. It's a problem where it's like,
So even if you see someone else, it's
yeah, like
affecting you.
someone
Wow.
that's, it's not saying that you shouldn't have empathy for
No,
people.
no, I get what.
But it's like that person is not your brother or your sister.
yeah,
It
it shouldn't
yeah.
have that detrimental effect on you.
Yeah, because I think it would be crazy if we would all just be like, yeah, no, I'm not even worried. Like
Yeah.
if our close one passed away, but it's like when it becomes like that pervasive thing where it's like she was saying that like on this psychology blog, like on this counseling blog, she was saying like it affects like the fact that he passed away, it affects her ability to sleep, to eat, and everything like that. So that's when you know it's like she's connecting that distant person passing away to like anyone.
I
at
can
any
see why
time
that
close to
can
her.
be like a really bad.
That could be like a
problem.
massive
Yeah.
problems, right? And I was kind of trying to figure out, okay, so then I started thinking, okay, so that fear that I have, it's like it's like a normal thing, which, as I think we talked about in the previous episode, some fears can be kind of like healthy, help
Yeah.
you or whatever. It's like a normal thing, but however, you have to be careful that it doesn't become like something way worse, right? Like something pervasive or whatever. And so I was like, okay, where does the fear come from, right? And one of the things they said is it comes from a place of codependency, right? So I want you guys to think about someone who's like close to you. And like, I know you guys always say I take it to the dark place.
No, but it's good. It's good. It's good. Because this is something, as you said, everybody sort of goes through that, right?
So someone who's really close to you, and like think about them passing away, right? Like, what would that mean to you? Like,
That would, for me, like what comes to mind is my parents, right? So
Yeah.
like if my parents were to pass away, God forbid, like my whole life would be flipped upside down because I live with them right now, and not to say like, oh, that's the only thing, but like even the times that we spend together, like us going on walks and all those things, like that'll just be completely gone.
all gone.
Yeah, and I won't really have that, right? So thanks
Yeah.
for bringing me
You see,
that
that's
lane. It's good. It's good.
Guys, I'm actually a really fun guy. Like, I love doing like and having fun. And
He
stuff.
is. But this fear, I think it's important for us to talk about it because everybody, again, as you said, goes through that.
Yeah.
What about you, Terry?
Well, for me, it will be two person that I can see myself.
Yeah.
Like obviously my daughter and my wife, right?
Yeah.
And I think if I lose either of them, that would have such a bad detrimental effect on me, because with my wife, she's like my best friend. She's like, I love her dearly, right?
Yeah.
Like she's like my confidant, the person who boosts me, the person who's just there for me whenever I need her or anything like that. So to have that person be taken away from me, it will be like, I don't know how I'll actually be able to function.
Hard, yeah.
It sounds bad because you shouldn't be so dependent on one person, right? But the fact that I wouldn't be able to function, and with my daughter, it's like,
like that's your daughter, man.
Yeah.
Come
The
on.
joy.
I don't
that's
think
the
I
joy.
even need to go into that.
No, you
right?
don't.
Yeah.
Absolutely not.
So
She's the joy of your life. Right?
exactly, like you said it right. Like regardless of her, and you guys have kids as well. Sorry, Troy.
I don't. I have no kids and no partner.
Sorry.
So this
Sorry,
is a good
Troy,
conversation.
but like, regardless of how bad your day is, right?
Yeah.
You can have the worst day,
Yeah.
but once you're home with your kid, it just seemed to disappear, right? And to have that taken away from you, I don't know.
Yeah.
I honestly wouldn't be able to function if I lose either of them.
Yeah.
So yeah,
And Trudy?
Not playing that game. So yeah. Moving on.
Trudy's not playing
We
that.
have to. We gotta do it. We gotta talk about it. Think about someone that you're close to.
it's
I'm
really
playing
hard
that
to.
Hard for Trudy.
Can't even bring your mind to that.
Nope.
Huh?
Fair enough. Fair
No,
enough.
but
Yeah.
it's true though. It is really hard. Like I know, even like growing up, like when I was younger, with like my parents, my sibling, it's like you can't think about
Yeah.
them just
Yeah.
dying. It's
Yeah.
like, oh my god, right?
Yeah.
It's like other people die. Like
Yeah.
they,
Yeah.
you know what I
That's
mean?
like-
You're always like, yeah,
that's
other
true.
people die.
Yeah,
That's true.
I
Yeah.
actually thought that when I was younger, like, not people close.
Yeah,
to
not
me.
my
No,
people.
no,
My people
no,
don't
no,
die. Like,
yeah.
other people die.
So
It's
it's one
true.
of those things.
So
yeah.
I think like just jumping off of that point, I think that's what kind of threw me over the edge because I always thought that, and then my dad passed away,
That's
so I was like,
true.
whoa,
Yeah.
it can actually happen.
Yeah,
I'm sure with
no.
you guys with your
Yeah.
Yeah.
grandmother,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
like
Then you
It's-
feel it. It's like
When it's close to you, it's just like, wow, this is something different.
like it can
Like,
actually happen.
It
yeah.
can actually happen because it's always so distant when it's happening to
yeah,
someone else, right?
Yeah.
You don't think you'll be affected, but because I
No.
remember when in school or whatnot, when you hear people, parents, like their father or mom passed away, you're just like,
Yeah.
oh, that's sad, but like you can't
Yeah.
phantom
It
it happening
happening
to
to
you.
you.
And
Yeah.
and when it actually happened with my dad, it like broke me.
Yeah.
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 It
Yeah.
really did. Like, it-
So that's the thing, right? Everything that we said, it's from what I've been reading and stuff. It's fine. It's good that you feel that way because that means you actually love those people, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the problem, the codependency, when it can become healthy, is when you take now the people you thought of, right? Even though you didn't say, I know you thought of someone, right? Of people, the people you thought of. The next thing is, are you taking your worth from them? That's when it becomes a problem. Like if you're taking your worth from another person, like if my person was Trudy, right? And I'm like, okay, if Trudy dies or whatever, or something happens to her, that is sad. It sucks, and it's gonna be with me for the rest of my life. However, am I taking my worth from the person? If you're taking your worth from the person, that's what gives you value. That's when it can lead to that unhealthy fear of loss because it's like that person is everything. It's like I can't even like all my value, everything I am, all who. It's not anything from me. It's not anything from anyone else. It's from that one person. So that when it can be a problem.
because
So,
it's pretty much losing yourself
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
along the way. Right?
Even though you
And it
love
can-
the person,
and-
it goes overboard.
And I can see how that can eventually lead you down a dark path where you just feel like I want to end my life too
Yeah.
without
Exactly.
that person,
Yeah.
and that's really unhealthy, obviously.
And
right?
you guys see that, right? You see some cases where
Sorry, but like, yo,
what are
that,
you thinking? Go ahead.
that was heavy, man. Like, that's what I'm thinking. That was heavy, but it's true. It's very true. Because like, if you're again going back to my parents and stuff, like if my identity or who I am,
Yeah.
everything I am comes from them, then like when it does come to that point, then it's gonna be like, okay, then who am I?
Yeah.
That sort of thing. So again, it helps you to sort of take time to spend the proper amount of time with your the people who you love and all that.
Yes.
But also remember
Yourself.
like
Who
who
you
you
are.
are as well. Yeah.
And that applies not only to like relationships, but even like in terms of careers, because you have people who
Good
their
point.
identity is
It's
their
a
career,
job,
right?
yeah.
I'm a firefighter.
Yeah.
So
And
if
once
you-
that's
Yeah,
taken
once
away
that's
from,
gone, it's like, what do you have left, right?
So
Yeah.
do you guys see why some people handle death and like the law, any type of loss? Because this thing is like it's loss in general, right? So death or the loss of a job, the person leaves them like in a marriage. Some people are able to move on, whereas other people commit like suicide and stuff
Yeah.
like that. I'm not saying like dismissing other like mental issues
Yeah.
or whatever, but I'm saying like that's why, because they place their value in that person. So once the person leaves them or they lose their job or the person dies, it's like, okay, that's it for me as well. So you have to be careful that it doesn't become that.
Yeah.
And that's the first step that I've seen to kind of help,
you have to
overcome that
have
fear of loss.
you have to have your own identity.
Yeah.
It can't be based on someone else. It can't be based on what's that other person think about you. That what your identity is. You have to know your identity, because if that person is taken away, then your identity taken away, right? And
Yeah.
that's why it can be so dangerous. So
Yeah.
we have to be mindful of that.
And it's also important to just constantly just tell that person how much you love them
Yeah,
and all those
for
things.
sure.
Because again, if you were to lose that person
Yeah.
and say you didn't say I love
That's
you
part
to
of the
them, or-
regret. That's
yeah,
part of the
that's
Yeah.
part of the regret, and all that stuff is gonna like weigh heavy on you.
That's
too.
why it's good to give people their flowers while they're alive, right? You
Yeah.
don't want to,
Yeah.
yeah, that's a good saying, right? You don't want to be like when they're dead, you're talking about how good they were. You want to tell them, this is how much you mean to me while they're alive, right? Because they're not going to hear it when they're dead.
Yeah,
That's true.
And I guess I can ask this question because, like, I know for you guys with your grandma and Terry with your dad, with dad,
With,
With your dad, who wasn't my father as well.
like, did you feel like? I think if you did tell them that you love them or spend the time, it doesn't have to be the words, but you spend the time, you cherish them and stuff, then it makes it a bit easier when they do pass away. Versus, I'm not saying it won't still be hard, but it's
Yeah.
a bit easier than that guilt of, man, I never did this or I never did that.
Yeah, that's a good point. Because one of the things that I always take is that me and my dad spent a lot of time together, right? I mean, obviously, it was really sad when he's gone, but like I went back and it just like no, I had a good time with him. Like I cherished the moment we had together. So
Like when
Yeah.
you're reminiscing, you
Yeah.
can reminisce with a smile.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You know,
rather than with
instead of like, oh man, like
Yeah.
you
sort of
reminisce with that.
wanting
So,
more.
yeah,
Yeah.
I never lived in regret where it's like, oh, I wish I spent more time with him. No, I know I spend as much time as I can with
Yeah.
him, right?
And that's what's important.
And that's kind of similar, like with our grandmother. It's like we spent a lot of time with
Yeah.
her.
She pretty
even,
much
Growing up, you guys
even though we might
had
not
to,
have
right?
wanted it at
You had
times,
to.
Yeah.
our parents would drop us off there, and you're just with grandma. But
Yeah.
when you look back, it's like, oh yeah, it was actually good because then
Aren't
there's
you
memories,
thankful
there's
you did
things
that?
we can
Yeah.
laugh
Yeah,
about.
yeah.
Remember
Yeah.
certain shows. You're like, oh yeah, you're gonna rest this grandma, right? Things like that.
Yeah,
So it's
yeah.
always really good to have those positive encounters and. Yeah, make the most of the opportunity you have with those who are
with the
living,
people.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I started with that and I was just like, okay, it comes from a place of just kind of realizing, yes, it's fine. It's to have that feeling. You're actually human for being caring about the people that's close to you. But just don't get it to where you find your worth in that person and it becomes like an obsession or whatever. Which, yeah, I know the word obsession is seen negatively all the time, but it could become like that and that could be a problem. So then once you get to that point, the first thing is, I'll just take you guys through like 7 quick steps. It's not long. The first thing is like acceptance, right?
Yeah.
So accept that inevitably someone is gonna die. Like,
Someone close to you is gonna
or
die.
you will be
Yeah.
the person that dies, right?
And in that case, well, who cares about the next steps because you're dead. You
You're
know?
dead.
You're dead.
Exactly. So accept, right? And then you have to ask yourself. So I actually went through all of these steps with myself. I'm like, okay, accept.
Like mentally, you went through all
Yeah,
of oh my
that's why
goodness.
I was actually writing, because I'm not usually a writer. I type stuff, but they were saying that if you write, it helps you connect to the thought a lot more,
to
right?
the earth and to the paper. Yeah.
So it's actually writing, and then the first thing is like ask yourself, like, what's the worst that can happen if that person close to you were to pass away? So in my case, I was just like, well, it's like you become all alone if the person close to you. That's what you're thinking, right? Worst that can happen, right? And then you have no friends. And I was thinking with family, like you guys, extended family and stuff. Then I'm like, okay, then I would have no friends or people to talk to. So that was the first thing. And then the next step was like, okay, is that really true? Like the worst that can happen that you're thinking, is that really true? And then I'm like, I went outside with my son for a walk, and my neighbor was across the road, and we just started talking.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh.
and we talked for like 20 minutes.
Oh, that's
And I was
cool.
like,
That's
oh.
too long.
It's funny because we could hear his noise
Yeah, we
now.
can hear. If you guys hear a car revving, that's our neighbor. So, anyways.
But yeah, and I was just like, oh, there are other people that I can talk to. That's just an example in abstract. But in my worst scenario, I was thinking there'll be no one to talk to. I'll be all alone or whatever. But it's not true. So when you play out your worst fears, just kind of bring it back. Like, okay, is that really true? You know, so it's kind of
And
like,
that also goes with this being a recap, right? So like for all of our fears,
Yes.
when you think about them, like what's the worst that can happen?
Well,
Terry's is like a little different.
Yeah, no, Terry's zone is an actual animal that is like an apex predator.
if I
Well,
get-
Terry's
if
own
I
is
get
what
venom,
is
venom in me, you know, my heart is just gonna
Your heart can
stop
immediately
beating.
stop.
It's gonna be a pretty painful.
Your blood
test.
coagulates. Like, what even is coagulation? Like, what? Huh?
Terry's own is more like, what is the chance of you actually encountering an anaconda that would kill you
In Canada.
in Canada,
Yeah.
in Toronto?
Yeah, in
No.
the city.
yeah.
Just a little bit, while I was watching, like, you know, studying about snakes and stuff like that, there's actually a village in India. They snakes are looked highly in certain part of India, right?
Yeah.
And there's a village in India where cobras just walk around like it's nothing.
Sorry, walk around or
Walk
slither
around,
around?
slide.
Okay, just
Yeah,
want
I
to
thought
make
the same
sure.
thing. I was
Yeah,
just like,
I don't
whoa.
want to see a little
Yeah,
snake just like,
yeah,
hey
yeah.
guys, what's up? How you doing?
Yeah,
Get
cobras and, like, you know, the king cobras and stuff, they're one of the most poisonous snakes.
Yeah.
They just slide around like it's nothing. People there have them like pets and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And,
So
and
then,
I'm just like, oh, well, that village is pretty cool. And there haven't been any instances.
Yes,
Well,
see?
I guess because they're like adapt. Like, you
That's
know
the
that
thing,
whole,
that's
like,
the thing.
you're
Yeah.
around
What they
something.
were
You can
saying-
try to rationalize it.
No, what they
It's
were
still
saying,
nuts.
I know,
what
it
they were
is.
saying is because in that village the snakes are used to the people,
People, that's
so they don't feel threatened by them.
Yeah.
So then
True.
the only way usually how a snake would attack is if they feel threatened by you, right?
Right.
true. Yeah.
So they don't, because they're around people all the time, they don't feel threatened. by
Wait, so
them.
just a general point though, can fear come off as a threat then? Like if you
Absolutely.
if you're more fearful, would that increase the chance of the snake attacking you? So instead of like
It's like,
you're
you know what-
causing the problem by
But like,
being
okay, think
fearful.
about dogs.
I think
you
so,
know, when
yeah.
they
Yeah.
say with
Yeah.
dogs,
They can smell
dogs
your
can
fear,
sense
whatever.
fear,
Yeah.
right? So
I don't
yeah.
believe it, but
But I mean,
I don't
it's true
believe
sometimes, right?
like there have
Yeah.
been times where I was terrified around a dog, and the dog had no idea. It was just like, I am happy with this bone that I'm chewing right now. So, like, you know,
It'd rather eat the bone.
I'd rather eat the
you,
bone
right?
than me. You know, like,
But
That's
Troy,
good.
what about you with your fear? What is the worst situation for you?
okay, so for me, the worst situation for me is a statue falling on me and killing me. So
Okay, now let's walk it back then. Do you think that that's realistic to happen?
absolutely.
How often have you seen statues just falling?
Hey man, I don't have to see it to know that it happens. Okay. No, but like for me, I guess like it's just the whole idea of I don't know. There's like this thing that I've come up with in my head, and
Yeah.
that's the thing. I came up with this thing in my head about these statues, you know, being these terrifying things, and they're
They
really
come alive.
Yeah,
they'll
but they're
attack
not.
you.
They're not.
Oh.
But so I guess most of the time our fear is mostly in our head, right?
Yeah.
It's not
Yeah.
based on reality.
We amplify. Like, so for
Mm-hmm.
myself, with the bugs, right? My worst fear is that, you know, the bug might jump on me, or if it's a bug that can sting me, like it will bite me, or, you know,
Yeah.
or stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
But when I really think about it, the bug is more likely afraid of me. So
For
it's like it's
sure,
trying to
yeah.
like
Yeah,
run away
100%.
from me
For
Yeah.
sure.
than me actually, you know, than it trying to come on me. So
true.
it's true.
That-
That is a good point. We
that's
have
a
to
really
see
good
what's
point.
the
Yeah,
worst
what's the worst,
situation
and
and
then
play
kind
back,
of be
yeah.
like, okay, is that realistic? Like,
Yeah.
Because that's funny. Because I was looking, I don't know why, but I was like looking for bugs whenever I go on walks and stuff. And one thing that I noticed.
Why were you looking for bugs?
Because I was thinking about Trudy's
Oh,
Trudy's
okay.
Trying to, like,
challenge.
catch
Yeah,
it
so I was
and
trying to
give it
see. But one thing I
that was
noticed.
thoughtful. That was
No,
thoughtful.
Yeah,
no, it's not
very thoughtful.
thoughtful. That's,
That's really
that's
nice.
horrible.
I'm trying to be a good
You know what?
brother.
You're a
Thank
good
you.
brother,
Thank you so
man.
much. I'm trying to be a good brother. Yeah.
That's horrible.
So one thing that I was one thing I noticed about bugs is that like if you put your foot or anything near it,
Close
it's
to it.
going to like try to
Run away.
run away from
Yeah.
it. And I was just thinking like Trudy's afraid of these things, and they're
But-
actually trying to run away
Yeah,
from you.
yeah.
They're
I
not
know.
trying to go up your nose or like in your ear. Like
Yeah.
they're not trying to do any of that. They're trying
I
to
know.
They want to live.
they're just trying to survive.
They're just trying to survive.
That's the thing.
They're
Yeah.
just like us, you know.
It's true.
I'm
it's
just
true,
trying to
it's
stay alive.
Just trying to stay alive, man.
Yeah.
true.
So yeah, so nothing to worry about, Trudy.
Yeah, I guess with the statue though.
Yeah, yeah.
Coming back to the
Bring it back to
statue.
the statue,
Right,
man.
yeah. I was trying to like divert it, but Terry brought it back. Anyway,
Got
it's
you.
cool. It's cool. Thankfully, yeah. Anyways, so with the statues, it's just that I don't like. I feel like it's my fear of just staying still or being stagnant
Okay.
and like
Okay.
seeing statues as
Okay.
this thing that's just always just like still and stagnant. And also the thing that freaks me out is that I can't see its eyes. Like the eye,
It
the
always
pupil.
fucks with-
Yeah,
Yeah.
like the
Yeah.
pupils are always there's no
It's
pupil or it's just blank. So yeah, that just always freaks me out. But I guess if I were to think about it, Is
Just
there
think
anything-
about the same way you think about Trudy with
And the
bugs.
bugs.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's just they're freaky. They're just freaky. I don't know, but statues, and it's not. Again, I said this before. I'll say it 100 times. It's only the ones who are humanoid, like the
Yeah,
ones who
yeah.
have human
Yeah.
figures. Like if
Features,
you
yeah.
show me a statue of a dog or like a terrifying creature, I don't care. Like I can.
A gargoyle.
Yeah,
those
that's
ones.
what. Oh no, gargoyles are kind of human.
Oh, yeah,
looking,
they are,
So
yeah.
like
Yeah.
anything that's like human.
Those are
Yeah, those
come
freak
alive
me out.
in the night, right?
Okay,
The
well,
bugs,
you
so-
listen, Terry. Now you're not making it better for me. You're making it
And
worse.
then you're like
you know?
watching and you see them like slowly bursting out of
Oh,
the thing.
and that's why I hated that
the
cartoon.
pieces
Oh, the
start
gargoyle?
falling.
I
Yeah.
used to love that cartoon.
I hated that cartoon as a kid. I was like, this is terrible. Like I don't want to watch this. But yeah,
So that's the first thing, right? Like kind of putting it, what's the worst that can happen, and really like
True.
you know. So I realized, okay, it's not like I'll have no one, right? And we have like a big and good community and everything. Then the next thing, specifically with loss, is like identify what you've lost in the past and how did you deal with it, right? So for, as I mentioned, you guys with your grandparents and with your grandma and us with our father we lost in the past, and how you dealt with it, right? So I was like, okay, yeah, I did lose my dad in the past, and yeah, like there were times I think anyone who's experienced death have this experience where like weeks or months later you think you still see the person, or you're just like, yeah, they're still around, you're still thinking about them, but eventually life goes on, right? Like eventually, you know, you got to move on.
Yeah.
So that was kind of like a big thing for me to kind of read and kind of work through, like, oh yeah, you know what, life kind of goes on. And
It
even
does.
things you lost, like for us moving to Canada, we lost a lot of our friends and stuff, right? But life kind of goes on, right? Even if you lost an opportunity or a job or whatever, life goes
Yeah.
on. So it's kind of like accepting that no matter what, life is gonna just go on, you know, like it's
and
kinda,
there'll always be little reminders of them in your life.
yes.
This is a very strange story, but I remember I was just in the living room, and I'm a person that's big on scent, right? So anytime, like, if you have a certain scent, I can identify you based off of your scent. Like, if you drop your jacket, I'm like a dog. That's what I'm trying to say. But yeah, so one day I was just in the living room, and I got the strongest scent of like my grandmother.
Grandma was there.
Oh wow.
And she'd passed away in like 2011, I believe.
Yeah.
And
How recently was
this was
that?
like this year.
Oh,
Okay.
wow.
That
So
I-
9
Wow.
years later, pretty
Yeah.
much, yeah.
And the thing is with that is, yes, you know, life moves on and stuff,
Yeah.
but you'll always, I don't know. It's
You
like
always, they're always
have that
part
comfort.
of you. Yeah.
They're always part of
Yeah.
you. That's what
Which is good.
I always think that. I even have a friend who's going through the loss of her grandmother right now. And like, one thing I tell her is like, listen, she's always going to be
Yeah.
with you. Like
Yeah.
no matter what, she's
Yeah.
always going to be around. So yeah, I don't mean to get too
No,
sad,
it's good.
but yeah.
It's good because then once you realize the passing and the person is with you, it's like you have a choice whether to be like to use that as a kind of motivation. Like I want to live my best life for them, to honor them in a way. It's kind of like your grandmother looking at you guys now. She'll be like proud of you. Like
Yeah.
Troy is doing so much with
Yeah.
media and stuff. Trudy's a doctor. Like she'll be proud of you.
She
So
would
it's
have been
kind of
like,
like
I'm
you-
real proud.
yeah, like you make my whatever
Lift
high.
me nose.
You lift me nose.
Yeah, you know. So the next thing is practice mindfulness. Mindfulness basically live in the moment, right? If you're always worried about loss or whatever, stop. Like you can't. One quote that was really cool was like, "You can't control the future and you can't change the past."
You can't
So
control
just
the
live in the moment.
Yeah.
You're not gonna control the future. The past is the past. It happened. Whatever happened in the past. So just kind of practice mindfulness.
And it's funny, like, that people would, like, I mean, it's not funny, but it's sad that someone would be focused so much on the thought of losing someone
That they don't.
that the fact is they're alive. The person is alive right now.
That's a
Yeah.
good point.
And you're wasting this precious time
Yeah.
worrying about if they died.
Yeah.
When you
some-
could use that time
Yeah.
to make
That's a
memories.
really good point.
Make
and,
as many memories as you
yeah,
can.
So it's better to
Something else I
rechannel
saw
it.
was someone said like, and I remembered because you just said that you're like so focused on death that you're not living
Yeah.
life. You're so focused on death, you're not living life. So it's kind of like, that's crazy. Like, yeah. Terry, what do you think about that? The fact of like living in the moment.
I really like it. I think sometimes we focus too much on not like we focus too much on the past sometimes. Like we're always looking back, oh, the good old days or whatnot. And then other time we're focusing too much on the future where it's
Yeah.
like, oh, I wonder how it's going to be in the future. I wonder how my life is going to be in the future. But we don't concentrate on the here and now.
Right now.
Yeah.
You know, enjoy it. Like, who knows what the future is going to be? Like a good example is COVID, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So many people are just like, oh, next year I'm doing this.
2020, I'm traveling.
Yeah.
2020,
Big
I'm
year.
doing
Big
this.
year.
2020.
Sit down.
Yeah.
Sit down.
Yeah, perfect vision and
Yeah.
everything
Yeah.
like that.
Yes.
And everything just got shut down, right?
Yeah.
So,
But the thing is, with 2020, it really put a lot of things into perspective.
Oh, for
Yeah.
sure.
So
It
it
did.
is 2020
It did.
vision when you really
That's
think
yeah,
Sure,
yeah.
sure.
I you know,
That's
yeah,
a good point.
Yeah, that's a good
yeah,
point.
so I do think like just focus on the now, like enjoy it now. Don't
Yeah.
worry too much about what's gonna happen. Obviously, you plan for the future, but you don't
Obsess
focus,
on
yeah,
it.
you
Yeah.
don't like this is not gonna let you do everything. Like
Yeah.
enjoy what you're having now, right?
Yeah,
so I do
and
like that quote.
just to add on to that, one of my favorite shows is The Office.
Oh,
Yeah, it's a
And
good show.
It's
Great show.
an
Yeah.
incredible show. You should
Yeah.
go watch it right now. But yeah, one quote that I remember, Andy Bernard said it. He was like, "I wish there was a way to tell that you're living in the good old days," or something like that.
Oh, that's
Like,
yeah,
he
that's
was
a
like,
good
I
point.
was like,
yeah.
you don't know that you're
Oh,
living in
yeah.
the good old days
Yeah.
when you're
You
actually living in the good old days.
That's true.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
really take that, and when you're living your life, just embrace that. I
Yeah.
remember one time, some of my friends, we all came up. They all came up to where I live. I'm not saying where I live, anyways. But yeah, they all came up here, and we got on our bikes and we were just riding in the night, and it was like we were kids all over
Yeah,
again.
that's
And
amazing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I was like, man.
Did you appreciate it while it was
While I
happening?
was
That's
riding,
good.
I was
Yeah.
just like, bro, this is crazy,
That's
because
good.
we're all at this point in our lives where, our lives are about to change. We're either about to enter
Yeah.
careers. We're either, some of us are getting married.
Yeah,
There's a bunch of different things that are happening, right? So I was just in that moment, and I was just
Yeah.
so
The
thankful.
main,
good
the
because-
main thing that I got from that is that the best time of your life is now.
Yeah,
Right.
it's happening right
It's
now.
right
Yeah.
now. It's not in the past. You can't dwell too much on the past. You can't think about the future because you don't know what is happening. The best time of your life is happening right now. So live in the
And
present.
the thing with that, though, is although the best time is right now, it depends on what you're doing right now.
Talk
Yeah.
about it.
Oh,
Are you actually
Talk about it,
like
Trudy.
that.
Talk
I like
about
that.
it.
are you
Come on.
actually enjoying the
Deep.
moment? Are you,
Yo,
as Tarrie saying, be
I wish I had one of those
mindful?
bomb drops.
yeah, that's like a mind.
Yo,
Or
Like
there
you
are
can
people-
leave right now.
you can leave. You can get out.
That's
right
a mic drop.
There's people that
Yeah, or in the moment right now, people are like worried, like
Yeah.
as Terry's saying, thinking about the future. Oh my gosh, the past. Like you've just wasted that minute,
Yeah.
60 seconds,
Yeah.
right
Yo,
now, right?
yo,
So
yeah,
But it's true, yeah.
This part, like working through this thing, really made me like I was just in the park. With,
No, this is motivation. I like
telling
that.
you.
Yeah.
I was just in the park
True.
with Tim yesterday, and because I did that practice mindfulness thing, like we were lying on the ground on the grass, right, and just looking at. I was like, "Oh, come, let's just lie." He was running around. We
Yeah.
were tired at that time, right? I'm like, "Let's just lie on the grass," right? And we were just looking up at the sky, and because I did this mindfulness thing, I was like, wait, this is amazing. Like, I don't know the last time I just
Yeah.
lie down in my clothes. I'm not worried about
Yeah.
it getting dirty or whatever.
Yeah.
And just look up at the sky and just appreciate like the creation that we have, like how
Yeah.
beautiful it is. And I was like,
Yeah.
man, we just gotta live in the moment. I could be worried like, oh, do we have enough money for when he wants to go to university
Yeah.
or
You're not
whatever?
there yet.
But you're not there yet.
Just
Not
enjoy
there
it
yet.
now,
Just
right?
enjoy
You
it.
know,
Not
so
there yet.
practice mindfulness. It's
Yeah.
not like, some people when they hear words like mindfulness, they think of it in such a negative light that it's
Some new
also
age.
new age or whatever. No, it just means just live in the,
In the
moment,
moment.
right
Yeah.
now. Stop
Yeah.
worrying about the future and the
Yeah.
past and trying to change the past. You know?
And that again, that reminds me. Whenever my parents and we go for walks, I'm always sort of practicing that. I didn't even
Yeah.
think about that,
No,
but
yeah.
I
yeah.
don't I don't listen to music when I'm walking with
Oh,
my
that's
parents.
big.
I don't do
Yeah.
that.
You just want to talk
you
to them.
just
Yeah,
wanna
I just want to
enjoy.
either talk to them or if we're
Or
walking in
just-
silence.
Yeah, the
we're walking in
nature
silence.
nature
Enjoy
song
that.
is really
But
nice.
nature,
together.
Yeah.
the soundtrack for nature is
It's
a
really- it's a-
banger.
yes,
Have you guys heard
pretty good.
Leaves?
Yeah.
Yo, Leaves, and then Ocean.
Wind
Yeah,
is sick.
so-
Wind is
like-
sick.
Yeah, I love
The
wind.
Wind is one of my
I'm not a
favorite
fan of the
songs.
bugs though.
Well, no, the crickets, that cricket track,
Sometimes,
listen
like,
to
my-
it. The
Yeah,
third
crickets
verse in
are pretty
cricket
good.
track.
My best runs or
Frogs are
whatnot
pretty cool, too.
It's not the runs where I'm like listening to music
Yeah.
or listening to my podcast. It's actually just taking in the nature. Like,
Yeah.
You
hearing
couldn't
the-
go an episode without mentioning running.
you gotta.
minutes
You have to
in.
stay on
It's
brand.
my thing. It's my thing, you know?
Yeah.
You take it a little bit dark. I talk about my
Running, you know,
Yeah.
and I'm trying to make all the little jokes and stuff.
Yeah.
You know, we're doing
Yeah.
And
well,
then
we're
Trudy
doing
just dropped the mic.
well. Just drops the boom, boom.
So
Oh, yeah.
the next thing, like the mindfulness, that's a cool one. The next one is learn about that. I'm not gonna spend a lot of time on that one. Just read about it, talk to others about it. I actually learned that there is something called death cafes in Toronto and many cities. They have death cafes. So it sounds dark, but what it is just people meeting to have good food and just talk about reminisce on the lives of people that passed away, and also
Actually,
also
I
talk
think
about
that-
how to get over it.
I think
fear
that
of
can
death.
be very
Yeah.
therapeutic.
Yeah.
So I was trying to find one to do now, but of course you guys know with the COVID
Yeah,
and
you
stuff.
can't
But
really do
I
that.
said after, I'm definitely going to just go to one, just talk about reminisce on the people that passed away and talk and have good food. Basically.
And that can also be very therapeutic when you think about it, because in you speaking and sharing
Yeah.
those things and recollecting on certain things, you might experience certain emotions that you never thought you
existed.
had.
Yeah.
Right? So
You might
that-
come home crying.
You might come home sobbing, but like it's a really good thing to do, because again, thinking about all those the people who have passed helps you to appreciate those who you have right now.
That's a
'Cause
good
I
point.
was like, man, if it's available, I'm still trying to see if it is, but most things are like closed.
Yeah.
But if it is available now, I would love to do that as part of my challenge, just to kind of just be around people and just be like in a positive. Everything I read, they were like really positive towards. It's not like the dark side of it. It's like positive, right? The next thing is talk about your fear with others. It's kind of like what we did today, and like as people that you're close with, just always talk about your fear with others. The second last thing is see the bigger picture, right? And for me, like personally,
perspective. Right?
yeah, putting it into perspective, right? Like, and kind of have a bigger picture. Like for me personally, I was just like, I was just remembering like in the Bible where it says like to die is gain, or like this is not the end, right? Like
Right.
that
Yeah.
doesn't really have a sting, and to die is gain. So I was just like, man, that's so true. Like it's sad that the person is dying, but like with what I believe, I'm just like they're off to a better place. Like
Yeah.
if Trudy were to die, I'd just be like, she's off to a better place. So it's kind of like
Your faith can really
See the-
have a lot to
yes,
do with it,
yeah.
and it can really help comfort you
Yeah.
through those difficult times. So that's a really good important.
So what do you guys think about that? Seeing the bigger picture, like when it comes to your fears and like death or loss, not just this one, but just any type of fear. How do you see the bigger picture?
And I'm gonna spin the question too, where think about the societal fear that you had. I think
Yeah.
Troy talked about
Yes.
Being
fear of being
alone,
alone.
yeah.
Terry not providing. Tarrie yours was.
the death
Yeah.
of
Yeah, it
Oh,
was
just
it was
for
all.
everybody?
This is
didn't-
all.
Yeah, that's all
yeah.
Terry's.
Hers is all there. And mine was failure, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, so seeing the bigger picture, how do you think that would help you?
With your fear of being alone.
Okay, with the fear of being alone, I was actually thinking about this. It's not the worst thing in the world.
No, it's not.
That's just something that I've
not.
come to realize.
Yeah.
And even
And
with
it's not as bad as people make it like
No,
this.
it really
It's
isn't.
not.
Because you think about all the individuals who are in relationships. Sometimes, as we said in a previous podcast, they're just in a relationship just to be in a
Yeah.
relationship, and we
Yeah.
don't
Exactly.
know
Be
if they're
toxic.
happy in that relationship or whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
Here I am on my lonesome, learning more about myself and like loving myself
Yeah.
every single day. And I find that's a very beautiful thing. So the big picture of like being alone, it's not really as terrible.
Yeah.
Obviously, I would like to have someone, but
Yeah.
if it turns out to be, you know, that's just those are the cards I was dealt in life. Those
Yeah.
are the cards I was dealt in life.
Yeah, and then just going back to the whole like putting it like into perspective and stuff, it's just you would be in alone in a relationship sense, but you wouldn't be
Yeah.
truly
In
alone
life.
because you would
that's
have
deep.
all of us,
That's
you would have
deep.
all your
That's
like your
deep,
other
Tarrie.
friends
Not
and
a
stuff like
hermit.
that.
No, that's
Yeah.
Yeah.
You would
No.
still
You're
you
not
wouldn't be
alone.
truly
Yeah.
alone.
You're
You
not
would
alone.
never be truly
Truly
alone,
alone.
No,
Troy.
that-
Like
that-
you'd
Yeah,
never be
that's a
truly
good, that's
alone.
an important thing, because even with just all my friends and stuff, like reaching out to them, talking to them,
Yeah.
and doing all those things, I never really feel like I'm alone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's
Because like
that's
for
good.
me, even like last week we had like a session together on Tuesday, and like you said something, and like it stayed. You said when we asked like how everyone's feeling, and you said you weren't feeling, like it stayed with me because we're close, we're like brothers. So
Right.
I'm like, oh man, it's that just means like just for like myself or anyone else, like not just I'm just not just saying myself, but anyone around you, you would always have people that you can kind of turn to
Yeah.
or whatever. It just means you wouldn't have a relationship, and I don't even think that's going to come to pass, but if it were, it wouldn't mean you'll be truly alone.
That's
it
true.
just can't mean that, right?
That's very true.
Yeah.
So I'll talk about both the societal and then the snake. I'll talk about the societal first, and it's good because I was actually thinking about that, my fear of not providing, and I think the main thing that I got out of it is that it goes back. I'm not alone. Like
Yeah.
honestly, I'm not
Yeah.
alone, and that whole weight.
People would
just-
help anyway, right?
Yeah, that whole weight just lifted off me. Like you're not providing your family by yourself. You have Jasmine, you have you guys. If I need it,
Yeah.
it's there.
Yeah.
And that weight is just like, no, I don't need to be fearful that I'm not gonna, because my family will be taken care of.
Yeah.
They would be able to have what they need, right? And that fear just like gone away somewhat.
That's
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
That's
good.
why it's good to have family,
Yeah.
guys.
So
That's
it's
why
very
we're all about the relatively extended family, relatively related,
Yeah,
right?
because your circle is really important, right?
It is.
Yeah.
It's very important.
And with my snake thing, like I just think like the chances of me being bitten by a poisonous snake is very slim to like none.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I'm not gonna come in contact of that, and it's even smaller, the minute when it comes to me being killed by like an anaconda or something like that. I'm not gonna have the chance to like be around
Yeah.
big dangerous snakes or anything like that.
Unless
So-
you're on a plane and you see Samuel L.
Yeah, Jackson, then you know.
should probably
Yeah, and if you see him start standing up, you're just like,
Yeah.
something's up.
And the first thing he says, "I'm tired of," then you know you're in trouble.
Yeah, yeah. So the reality.
So try on brand, the movie reference. We got it.
So the reality is, when you put things in perspective, when you think about the biggest picture, you'll see your fear is not really. It shouldn't be a fear at all.
Yeah.
It's very true.
And then the very last thing, understanding number 6, like for me, where it said like this is not the end, like there's better in the store. Just understanding number 6, try to help your loved ones live their life in a meaningful way. So the people that's close to you, understanding, putting everything in perspective, understanding it's inevitable, things happen, either to you or to them. Just be the best you can with them and help your loved one live you know how they say live your best life.
Yeah.
Help those that's with you, close to you,
Live their best
your
life.
circle live their best life. So that's how I kind of like took the steps of like getting over that fear. And I wouldn't lie to you guys and say I'm completely over it, but I feel a lot better. I feel like you know.
And I
it's-
think
it's
that's
doable.
that's
Yeah.
the goal of this whole challenge. Our goal was to go into this thing, not to essentially, conquer this
Yeah.
fear, but to lessen its intensity in your life.
Yeah.
Because I know for me now, the fact that I went around and like touched a bunch of different
Yeah.
statues, I was like, okay, nothing bad happened. So I'm not really as terrified. Now, if you
Yeah.
put me in a room full of like those Roman statues and stuff, I might not move, but at least I'll be at a place where I'm like, all right, I know that they're not going to step down from their stool and come and kill me. Anyways, so yeah.
Yeah.
It's
my
true
little
because
thing.
for me with the bugs, like this month.
Yeah, I
my
wanna hear this.
encounter-
Yeah.
My encounter with bugs this month has been manageable. You know
Oh,
what
wow,
I mean?
that's
Yeah.
good. That's
And
good.
I'm mindful of it now because we talked about the fear and trying to overcome it.
Yeah.
So I know I had a situation where there was a bug,
hmm
a big bug in my estimate.
Do you know what type of bug it was?
I have no clue what kind of bug it
The
was.
thing is, there's so many different
Yeah.
type of
There
bugs.
I don't know
Yeah.
what the thing was. Like
Even
maybe
now
this
they're like-
big.
Whoa, that's pretty big. So
Yeah.
It's big,
What
like
happened?
like this big, right?
Oh my
And it
gosh.
came flying in, and I was like, "Oh my god!" I thought it was a bee at first. I was like, "Okay, I can handle it," but then it went on the wall and started crawling. I was like, "Oh god!" So I was watching, my
You were-
niece and
yeah.
Tim
Yeah, and the
and Bella,
niece-
I
yeah,
know she's scared too, and
Big
I-
time scared
and
of
I'm just
bugs.
like, and this is my thing though. I'm like, okay, yes, I know I have this fear, but I don't want to pass this fear
So you
on
have to be brave for the
them.
kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Good.
she's
It's
like,
too late
"Oh,"
for
she's
Bella.
Like, oh, there's a bug. No, she's like, oh, there's a bug. So I'm
Okay,
like, okay.
good.
I'm like, I'm gonna go get it.
no one else was
And
there,
I
right?
was by myself. I walked to the kitchen. I got the broom. I'm like, okay, Trudy, you gotta do this for the kids. And I hit it, and then it flew away. I was like, oh god. But I'm like, come on, hold yourself together. And I hit it again. It fell. It died. Bella is like, oh, we had to pick up the bugs when they fall on the ground.
I realized.
I was like, oh god, because I was gonna leave the bug there and done. I had to go in the kitchen, get a rag.
So you kind of felt parts of its body.
I felt the squish. Oh my god.
That
So
part is not
anyway,
nice.
Yeah.
I'm just proud of myself.
I'm proud of you. That's good. That's good.
Very happy for
Golf
you.
clap. That's big. That's baby steps right
Trust
there.
me,
Yeah.
trust me. So
And
it's
that's the
good.
thing, guys.
Yeah.
With whatever your fear is,
Yeah.
it's about taking those baby steps
Yeah.
to get
Baby
there.
steps, yeah.
Yeah.
What about you, Tarrie?
Well, this.
Oh, you
Oh,
did.
that's-
Okay. Cool.
I was like, oh wait, was there?
Was there anything else? Yeah.
No. I think that just kind of going through that exercise, and sorry, I took like a lot of the time explaining
This
that,
was
but
perfect.
That's-
but I was thinking I wanted to walk it through
But
with
not
you
only
guys.
that,
right?
like some of the points that you make could be applied to any of our fears.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because anyone who has fears out there, they can look at that, what you said, and just apply their fear to that, right? And they can
very true.
slowly overcome it.
So that's pretty much how I got closer to like just kind of talking to people, but also reading like what counselors recommend and also taking some of the steps. Yeah. So that was it for me.
I know this is the end of our challenge on fear, but there's still some time. I know Troy's going to be going to a museum later on in the month.
Or no, there's like this big head
Or a
statue in
big
Toronto.
statue.
I'm going there instead. I don't
Yeah,
know.
Nice.
so he's going to
Nice.
go there.
A blessing.
Terry's going to be going
Yeah.
to the pet store or whatever place, Reptile
Reptile,
Aquarium, and he's
yeah.
going to go see
And
the
Trudy's
snake.
going to.
I'm done.
Trudy did her thing.
So I
She
did
did
my
her
That was
thing.
traumatic.
And Tarrie's
I'll
going
try
to
to
be going
find
to the
the
cafe.
Death
Death
Cafe.
Cafe.
That's
Yeah.
pretty cool.
But yeah, so family, those of you listening, whatever fears you have, I hope that, after listening to this series, that you'll really work on them, take the baby steps to try to conquer them and overcome your fear. And that's all we have for you for this episode. So thank you for listening. We
Thank
want
you.
you to
Like, comment, and subscribe.
thank you.
And share as much as you can.
Yes, share.
Please share. And we've been seeing that you guys like the old talk. So again, share those old
Yeah.
talks as
Yeah.
much as you possibly can.
And we'll
Please,
try
guys.
and bring out more.
Yeah, we will. So with that being said, bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.